Are you involving your kids in your health journey? I'm really curious to know. Let me know in the comments if that's something that you are currently doing. How do you involve your kids? I'm going to give you some tips today in this episode of Tuesday Tea with Mandy B about how to involve your kids in your health journey. We parents can be a major influence on our kids' habits and their health. What better way to get in shape than to involve your kids in your fitness and your health journey? Kids are always so full of energy. Sometimes I wish I could just bottle it up, but why not channel that into becoming a more healthy family? Exercising and being physically active as a family is not only great for your physical health, but it's also been proven to be beneficial to your mental well being. It's going to bring you closer as a family. It's one of the things that we look forward to doing together. I don't get to do it as much now that my kids are older, but it's something that is a way to set a great example for those healthy habits that will last your kids well into adulthood. So I'm going to give you some tips today on how to involve your family and your kids in your health journey. But the first thing I want to talk about is thinking about health as culture. Do you ever think about that? Do you think about where that diet culture comes from, or where your health comes from? That's something that I've been thinking about a lot lately. So we often think about our health or diet as a regimen or something that we can follow just for a set period of time and then abandon. But health is actually a culture that we can cultivate and pass on to future generations. It's something that we can pass on from parent to child, from generation to generation. Just like our ancestors passed down their traditions and customs to us, we can pass down those traditions to our family. So what are some of the things that you want to pass down? What do you want to leave as your legacy in your family? The culture that we have in our family can involve the food that we eat, the way that we move our bodies, and the way that we care for our bodies. And so that can evolve and change over time, but just like any other culture, it has to be nurtured and maintained in order to thrive. And really, the best way to do that is to start them out young. Start building those habits in our kids as they start growing. We can start preventing some of those bad habits by building better ones in the first place. And this is a great way to go about leaving that healthy legacy with our kiddos. So in today's episode of Tuesday Tea with Mandy B, I'm going to give you some ideas. So today I'm drinking French chocolate. It's one of my favorite pu'er teas. I love it so much. It's a great way to start the day. So delicious. All right. Idea number one is to just simply start with frequent walks. It's no secret that kids are tied to their screens. We deal with this in our family all the time. All of our kids are very screen driven, but we can usually tear them away from their screens and their digital devices by going for a family walk. I know it's really hot in Texas these days. I don't know what the weather is like where you are, but we like to go out after dinner and go for walks. Sometimes it's just my husband and I, but we love to involve our kids in those walks. Walking is a great form of exercise for the whole family, and it's something you can do that's free. And usually you just have to lace up your sneakers and go out your front door. Not only are you going to get some much needed fresh air and quality time with your kids, but you're also setting a great example for them of what it takes to just stay active. For me as a diabetic, going for a walk after a meal is a great way to help bring down those blood glucose numbers. And so that's a great example that I'm setting for them. And you never know. Once you show them how much fun you have on your walks or hikes, if you like to be a hiking family, it's something that they might be inspired to start moving more. This is what happens when we go live. Somebody's printing to my office. Oh, goodness, the thrills of going live. So put down the screens, lace up your sneakers, and go for that family walk. The second idea today is about going grocery shopping together. Now, mamas, I know that going to the grocery by yourself sometimes feels like a vacation. I'm really sorry about the printer. That's just something that we deal with in this family. We all print to one printer together, so it's right here in my office. Food shopping with our kids can be a pain. I love going to the grocery store all by myself, but this is a way that we can help instill those healthy habits in our kids. When you're guiding them through the grocery store, you can really teach them about what kinds of food are good for our bodies. We can talk about eating a rainbow of colors. We can look at some of those more exotic fruits and vegetables that are in the produce section. My kids always like to kind of see what they don't recognize and find fruits and veggies that are new. That's something fun that we talked about in a previous episode. You can also take advantage of this opportunity to teach them about budgeting. When they're seeing how much food costs and how the food prices vary and what the value is of maybe using a store brand instead of a name brand food, that can go a long way for them. I'm thinking about this in terms of sending my boys off to college within the next year. Do they know how to plan a meal, budget for a meal, how much it costs? If they're going to make a hamburger, how much meat do they need to buy? So these are opportunities that we can take advantage of by taking the kids with us to the grocery store. By taking the time out to do that, you can really help set your kids up for a lifetime of healthy eating and mindful spending. So there's no need to walk down every single aisle of the grocery store or to feel like you have to fall victim to all of those impulse purchases at the register. Just keep them engaged in your trips to the grocery store. And this is something you can start at a very young age and teach them those habits early on. My third idea today for involving your family in your health journey is teaching them how to cook. No one can deny that cooking is a skill. It's one that I am still not confident in. I'm so lucky that my husband is a great cook, but it's a skill that we need to build up in our kiddos. Again, I'm thinking about this as I'm about to launch 2 kids off into the college and adult world. I want them to be able to fend for themselves and not have to rely on fast food and restaurants. They should be able to know how to cook, a basic range of foods, eggs, just basic things that they can cook for themselves, making a bowl of rice or some pasta. Just thinking about how to cook healthily for themselves is a great skill that they can take with them. Some people are naturals in the kitchen. I'm definitely not one of those. For the rest of us, it's something we have to learn. So why not learn with your kids? It's a great way to bond. It's a great opportunity to teach them about healthy eating habits. And cooking is one of the best ways that we have that we can control what's going into our bodies. So teaching your kids how to cook is setting them up for a lifetime of good health. It's a great thing to do even with our youngest kiddos. Start them young, have them in the kitchen when you're cooking meals, and they can really start to take on some of those habits. My fourth idea today for involving your kiddos is educating them on sleep. I don't know about you, but we struggle with getting our kids to bed on time and in getting them up in the morning. I have some late sleepers in my teenagers these days. They haven't always been like that. They used to wake us up before we were ready to wake up when they were younger. But we know that getting enough sleep is really important for our health. But we've got to train our kids in the importance of getting enough sleep. It's so tempting for them to be up, chatting with their friends. They have these communication tools that we didn't have as kids. We couldn't stay in touch with our friends 24 hours a day when we were growing up. We had dial, phones. We had to call and talk to parents. And I just think about all the different ways that they stay in touch. Our kids are on FaceTime with their friends, and it's a constant stream of communication. And so we need to make sure that just like nutrition and exercise, they understand how much sleep they need and why it's an important thing that they get enough sleep, especially in these developmental years of their childhood and adolescence. Sleep is crucial. We all know that sleep is crucial for our physical and mental development, especially in our kiddos. It's been linked to better academic performance and behavior. And I know it's hard to force your kids to go to bed at a certain time, but if they can start to understand why it's so important, that's really helping them develop those good bedtime routines and setting them up for success. Training them how to wake up to their own alarm is something we definitely are working on in our house as well. So the next time you're tucking your kids into bed, just take a few minutes to talk to them about why it's important to get enough sleep. And then it won't become such a force issue, but you're really helping them to understand the importance of that sleep. So it might make all the difference in linking together their health and their well-being. And then my final idea for you today for involving your kids in your health journey is progressing up to tougher workouts together. So we talked about walking and the importance of, family walking and showing them and really being an example for building in that healthy exercise in our day. Once you have a foundation of an active lifestyle and a well-developed sleeping and eating habits, it's time to maybe get into those family workouts together so you can actually progress together to challenging training sessions. Maybe you start with walks and jogs and hikes. Once you've been doing that for a while, my kids are the perfect age, maybe building in some body weight exercises or weight training sessions. We have a Peloton here at our house, and we can set up all of the people in our family to be on that Peloton and to be active on it. But Peloton is more than just a cycle. A cycling activity. You can actually build in. They have a whole range of activities in their app that we like to take advantage of, from weight training, simple resistance. It's just fun to get to build those in, and so doing that will bring around a shared feeling of progress and success. It can help enhance that family bond, and ultimately, just like we've been focusing on throughout this episode, cultivating those healthy habits within our family. So I know it's important to get our kids involved in these healthy habits at an early age. We want to build up those habits that they're ready to launch into adulthood and carry those things with them, just like we talked about that culture in our families. So I'm really curious. I'd love to hear in the comments, what are some of the ways that you like to involve your kids in your health journey? Is it food related? Is it exercise related? Sleep related? Any of the above? Let us know in the comments, and we can all get great ideas from each other about how to involve our kids in our health journeys. Thanks for joining me for another episode of Tuesday Tea with Mandy B. I'll see you again here next Tuesday.